All right, the last video, we're going to go over the last 5 questions of your review. So number 16 says, what is the value of y in the solution of the system? Okay, so remember your system of equation. Okay, this is you're finding a solution. So you're going to use one of your calculator tricks, mini 3-1, mini 3-2, mini 3-3-1. Okay, because it's a system, because you have 2 equations and you're solving for 2 variables, you're going to use mini 3-2. Okay, so when you use mini 3-2, you just type in the equation exactly how it is, including the equal sign and whatever comes after the equal sign. So you type in everything. So this goes in box 1, so the first box, and then this whole thing goes in box 2. So when you do that, you get that your solution, and remember your solution to a system is where the 2 lines meet. Okay, so they meet at the ordered pair 43, negative 17. Well, it is only asking for the value of y. Well, remember, if this is an ordered pair, okay, so that means your y value is negative 17. Okay. All right. Number 17 says use the graph of the line of the grid to answer the following questions. Okay, so here is your line. All right, so what is the equation of a line shown on the grid? So when your line is horizontal or vertical, it is always the equation of the axis it passes through. So in this case, our line passes through the y-axis. So therefore, it is a y equals equation. So because it hits the y-axis, it is a y equals, and it's wherever it hits the y, it's like a y-intercept. Okay, so where it hits the y-axis. So in this case, it is 2.5. All right, is this line horizontal or vertical? All right, so this line is horizontal. Goes like the horizon. All right. And then also, is it parallel or perpendicular to the x-axis? Okay, x-axis is here. So will it ever touch the x-axis? No. And remember, the definition of parallel means that they'll never touch. So in this case, this line is parallel to the x-axis, whereas it is perpendicular to the y-axis. Remember, perpendicular means it intersects at a right angle. Okay, so if this is your y-axis, it's going to create a right angle, which will be super important to remember for geometry. So there you go. All right, so in this case, this line is going to be perpendicular to the y-axis. All right, graph the inequality. All right, so we have y is less than or equal to 3/4x minus 4. So let's talk about the inequality. So the inequality tells us it's going to be a solid line. So remember, if it's there's an equal to sign, it's going to be solid. Whereas if it's just the inequality, it's a dotted line. So in this case, we're going to use the solid line. All right. And then because y is less than or equal to, okay, the alligator's facing away from the y, we're going to shade below. Okay, all right, if it was eating the y, we would shade above, but because it's facing away from the y, we're going to use below. Okay, you can also use our trick. Okay, you can make a b out of that inequality. So we have to graph this line now. So if you need help graphing, you can still graph this part in your calculator. You can't graph the inequality, but you can graph the line. Okay. Also, on questions like these, when it's asking you to graph, make sure it's in y equals, or y is less than, or y is greater than. Okay, in this case it is. So that's always step 1. All right, but like I said, in this case it is, because it's y less than. Okay, so you can move on to just graphing it. So our y-intercept, So our slope is 3 over 4. And our y-intercept is -4. So we're going to start at -4 on the y-axis. And then I'm going to rise 3 and run 4. Rise 3 and run 4. And I can't go anymore, so I'm going to go back to my y-intercept and graph some points on the other side. So remember, when you do that, do the opposite direction. So because I went up 3 into the right 4, now I'm going to go down 3 into the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, so because this is a solid line, my inequality tells me so. I'm going to draw a line through those points. And then because I shade above, or just kidding, because I shade below, I'm going to shade the side that is underneath the y-intercept. So I go to the y-intercept and then shade the side below the y-intercept. All right, so there's our answer for that one. All right, number 19, again, it's asking for factors. So in this case, you can use menu 331. Okay, so A2 is 1, A1 is positive 10, and A0 is positive 24. All right, again, I don't have the calculator, so I graphed it in Desmos for you. Okay, and we get that our solutions are -6, -4. But remember, when we put them into factors, we do bottoms up. So in this case, it is x plus 6 and x plus 4. So these are our answers right here. All right. So I would definitely use menu 331 on the test. All right, number 20 says, what is the solution to this equation? All right, so in this case, you would use, because we're talking about solution again, and we have one equation sign, one equal sign, and one variable software. We're just solving for m. You would use menu 3.1 here. So when you use menu 3.1, make sure you put comma m at the end. All right, so there's my hint to you. If you feel like if you keep getting error, that's probably because you're not putting comma m at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna solve this by hand for those that like to solve it. But if not, you can just type it in as is. All right, so -4, we're gonna multiply this. We're gonna distribute. So anytime you see parentheses, you always distribute. So -4 times 2 is -8. -4 times -7 is a positive 28. 3 times 52 is 156. 3 times -4m is -12m. All right, so now we do our railroads, and I'm going to move my variables to the left side and all my numbers to the right. So I'm going to move this 12 over. All right, so because it's a -12, I'm going to add 12. Remember, you must do the inverse. Okay, so -8 plus 12 will get us a 4m. My 28 will come over here as well. So I'm going to subtract 28 from 152 because it is positive on the left-hand side. So when I move it across the railroad tracks, it does the opposite, does the inverse. So I'm going to subtract it. So 152 minus 28 is 124. All right, so now I'm left with 4m equals 24. Well, again, m is not by itself. So I've got to divide by 4 because 4 and m are multiplying. In order to undo that, I have to do the opposite, which is division. And 124 divided by 4 is 31. Good luck on your final, guys. Bye.